Good morning and welcome again to another Making Mondays Matter. Believe it or not, it is already the final Monday in the month of January. Have you started looking at those plans that you have for this year or the resolutions that you made? What are you waiting on? This morning I want for us to focus a little bit on the topic of starting where you are with what you have. Starting where you are with what you have. My initial question was, have you begun to chase those dreams? Have you begun to flesh out those plans that you had for 2020? One of the biggest obstacles that I often encounter with my coaching clients and those who I offer professional services to as it relates to uh, building their plans and their dreams and starting their businesses is that they do not have. I don't have enough money. I don't have the right location. I don't have the necessary qualifications. I don't have, and so and so and so and so they go on and what they do not have. I even encounter this in my pastoral care ministry, where you speak to persons even within your congregation, and they are often quick to say, we can't do this because we don't have. This morning, I want for us to start with what we do have. What you have is really a whole lot more important than what you don't have. I know some persons are probably going to take issue with that statement, but think of it. What you don't have, you don't have. You can only start with what you do have. And so many people lose or don't discover or don't realize their true potential or their dreams because they are waiting for what they do not have. I want for us this morning to start right where you are with what you do have. There are two instances that comes to mind as it relates to the Bible. And I mentioned that I also encountered this within the context of my church ministry. And there are two things, like I said, that comes immediately to mind when God asked Moses to lead the children of Israel out of Egypt, and he had to go before Pharaoh. Moses himself started finding excuses, and God asked, what is that you have in your hand? A staff. Somebody said, a staff, what is that? To Pharaoh. But we know that God started to use Moses through that staff. And also the feeding of the 5,000, where Jesus fed 5,000 plus persons with a few loaves of bread and some fish. The disciples started to think what they don't have and what they needed to get in order to feed this amount of people. And Jesus started with them with what they did have. And so I'm using that as my basis this morning for us as we seek to achieve those goals and those dreams. Don't focus on what you don't have. Start with what you do have. Okay? You may be looking to start a business. What can you do now with what you have to advance that cause? That's where I want you to start. Yes, you may need to invest a couple $1,000s in equipment or whatever, but you don't have that money right now. So what can you do immediately to move you towards that goal? What do you have in your hand that can help you get closer to where you need to be, where you want to be? And so let us start with what we do have. If time is what we have, then let's start with time. If knowledge is what we have, let's start with what. If it's simply the desire is what we have, let's start with that and move forward. But please don't sit idly by waiting for what you do not have. Start where you are with what you do have, and I can assure you that you will make progress. You may not be moving ahead as fast as you want to be, but if you do make that first step, I can tell you that you will be a step closer to that dream, that goal. And so, as we advance into 2020, start with where you are. Use what you have. And that goal, that dream, that desire that is before you, that you ended the year with and you were looking forward to 2020 to achieve, will become even closer. And who knows, you may have been waiting for a long time for what you don't have, and you would be surprised at what you can achieve when you use what you do. So, as we go into 2020, like I said, let's use what we have and start from where we are. And let us go forward and achieve those goals, those dreams. This is David Ince for another Making Mondays Matter from Living Successfully Inc. Have a great day.